Hello all. Today we are going to learn about the Angular signal. So signal are in new features introduced to enhance performance and improve the developer experience when dealing with state management in reactive applications. It also allows components and service to communicate in a more efficient and reactive manner. Signal was introduced in Angular 16 for a developer preview, and later from Angular 17 it was officially released for general use. So what is signal? A signal is a reactive primitive that holds a values and notify its subscriber whenever the values changes. It means signal is just like a variable that can hold the values and also additional functionality. It means it can notify its subscriber. I will explain each and everything in details while going with the programming. Now let's discuss about the key features of Signal. The first is state management. Signal stores data and also update the data. The second point is reactivity. So whenever any data has been changed within the signal, it notify all the subscriber, so that subscriber will get to know that the data has been changed and they can update their values or they can recalculate if it is compute. I will explain compute in more detail in future slide. Efficient update. Before signal, whenever any changes happen on the component or HTML side, it update complete component itself. It means a values A has been updated by values 5, it will update complete component even the other part of component has been not changed. With the signal, it only update the affected parts of the application, and that is the reason the performance will improve. So the moving to the next part, the no need for observable or subject. Definitely the RxJS was doing almost similar things, but the change detection was happening with the complete page. With the signal, it's more simpler, more optimized page, and definitely the performance has been increased. Now signal has three pillars. It means the first signal itself, the second is compute. So what is compute? Compute is depends on the signal. Whenever the values of the signal will change, compute will get notified and it will update their values. I will explain with real example, so don't worry right now. And the last one is the effect. Effect means any changes is happening with this signal, and if we wanted to notify to log or some other part of the component, we can use by using the effect. I will explain with the real example that also. Now moving to the coding part, I will explain total 4 example with signal. The first one will be the beginner and the last one will be the advanced one. So let's focus on the first example. I have created a very simple applications. If I click on the increment, the counter is getting incremented by 1. So let's see how it is happening with the use of signal. For this, I am using Angular 19 to demonstrate this example, and the first example is counter. If you see, I have created a very simple counter signal, and I have one method called increment that increment the counter by 1. If you go to the HTML page and you notice here, I have one paragraph where I use the counter signal, that is we are using interpolation binding, and whenever I click one button, it call the method increment and it update the counter by 1. Now if you notice here, whenever we have to use signal, we have to use as a method parenthesis. And here also, whenever I am trying to update a signal values, I am first trying to get the current values by using the method parenthesis, and then I am incrementing it by 1. So this is the first example. Moving to the second example now. Let me go with app component. The second example is little bit complicated. I am using a object instead of direct variable. I have a user object and I have user name and age, and I have bind it into the HTML. So whenever I click user update, I change the age property to 40. So let's see how the signal work with the object. Here, let me close other now. So I have created a user object and I have initialized a user signal with this user object. I have done the binding with the paragraph. You can see I am using the user signal with the parenthesis, and I am using the property called name, and here the property called age. Whenever I click on the button, I make a call for update users. Now what update user do? Update user just update the age. So the previous age was 25 and now it is 14. Whenever I make any changes on the actual object, the signal will notify that my underlying values has been changed, and it will update all the subscriber. And in my case, who is the subscriber? So it is template. So here it is getting automatically reflected here. So that is the part. I wanted to add some more complexity here. What if I am changing object itself? So if you see, I have created a new user object and then I update the users by using the set method. So here the user is a signal and I am calling it set method to update a new object itself. Let's see if I save this, how it react. No, the application has been refreshed now. It's like John and the age has been 25. Once I click on the update users, the object has been changed from John to Jan, and the age also has been updated. It means if I am updating the new object, I have to update signal by using the set method. Now moving to the third example, let's see how it reacts. Now here I am using the compute method to explain the compute functionality. If you see here, once I click on the increase base, it's getting changed base values to 6 and double values to 12. So let's see what is happening here. If I'm going with compute, you notice here I have created a base values with the signal, and I have initialized signal to the values 5, and then I have created another signal that is a computed signal that depends on base value signal. So it means whenever the base signal has been updated, that it will call the computed signal and it will calculate these values operations. So how it is happening, let's see. I have done these two signal binding here, and I have one button, and whenever I click on the button, it call increase base method. Increase base method will update the values by 1. So increase method is update first getting the base values and it is incrementing it by 1. So whenever it update, it notify all the subscriber. So who all the subscriber? The first subscriber is here, and the second subscriber is compute. So within the computed method, you can see we are using the signal base values that will get notified, and the operation will happen, and the whatever the base values we had, it will multiply by 2 and it will update double values, and double values is also a signal, so that will also notify all the subscriber. In our case, we have template that need to be notified, and that is the way it will update the values here. So if you go with the program once again, and let me refresh the page now. The initial values is 5 and 10. If I click on that, this is the first signal and this is the computed signal. Whenever I click on this increase base, first the method will be called, so it will increase the base values by 1, and whenever it will increase the base values by 1, automatically it will notify its subscriber here in base values, and that is the way you are able to see double values is equal to 4. Now moving to the next example, that is the advanced level, and I have created a fuel calculator. Let's see what is the fuel calculator that accept distance, fuel efficiency and fuel price. So here if you see, I have assumed that I have a very basic car, and the car has mileage for 15 km per liter, and the fuel price is 100 rupees. So if a vehicle run for 15 km, it means it burn 1 liter of fuel. So what is the total price? Price will be 100. So what if vehicle is running 30 kilometers? So definitely the mileage is 15, so total cost will be 15 into 2, that equal to 200. So let's see what we have done it in the code. So let's see, I have created 3 signal: distance, fuel efficiency and fuel price, and then I have created a computed signal, and I am using distance, fuel efficiency and fuel price signal to calculate the efficiency and total cost. So total cost is a read-only signal, while the signal is called a writable signal. You can see it here also, it's a writable signal. So that was the very simple way. If you are going to the HTML, you see I have done the ng model binding by using distance, fuel efficiency and fuel price signal, and whenever I make any changes on the input, it call distance change. For fuel efficiency, it call on fuel efficiency change, and the similar ways on fuel price change. Let's see what is there inside the method. So this all 3 method, if you notice, just I am updating the distance, fuel efficiency and fuel price from the event itself. So whatever I am typing it, that values we set into the signal, and whenever the value will change, automatically computed signal will be called, and it will recalculate total cost, and then it will update the total cost here. I have created a pipe so that I can display only 2-digit decimal point in case of if we are getting the decimal point. Now, so let's see once again. If I have updated these values by 1, you can see the values is getting updated. Now if you will notice here, you are getting a red color text also, total cost updated. Now here the effect come into the pictures. What I have done, within the constructor I have created effects. So effect has internally total cost signal, So whenever the total cost value will change, it will understand that I have to make a call to effect, and it will call the effect. And here I display total cost updated into the log. Also, I have updated a variable called so updated message true, and where we are consuming the so updated message, you can see I am using it so updated message here. So whenever I have distance greater than 0 and so updated message is true, I display total cost updated. So that is the business logic, and after 1 second I might set the so updated message to false, so that the message will disappear from the HTML. If you will notice here, I have one method increment by 2. Whenever I click on increment by 2, you can notice here the value is getting incremented by 2, the price has been changed, and also I get the message total cost updated. So what is written inside that? So whenever I called increment by 2, I called on add method, and let's see what we have written on add. Here I have written signal, the distance signal, and I make a call to update. And what I do, I take the current values and then I use current values and increment by 2. If you notice here, in the previous signal I used the set method, but for on add method I am using the update method. Why? If we have to update the values from the previous values, we have to use the update. If we have to use completely a new values, we can use set. So that is the difference. Yeah, that's it. Thank you all.